Hi, this is Jim. I'm here at home with the Airstream. Today I want to show you a video that'll help you avoid a catastrophe with your tires on your next camping trip. Here's an example of a tire that was completely worn out due to a misaligned axle. My friend took this off his camper. He had a temperature and pressure monitoring system installed. He noticed the temperature was going up and he was able to stop and get the tire off before he had a blowout. This is a tire pressure monitoring system display. And this is the tire pressure monitor that goes inside your tire and feeds the display. The display will tell you the temperature of the tire and the pressure on the tire. Now you can set on this device a limit that you want to go for high temperature and low pressure. When the tire pressure drops below the low pressure, a little alarm goes off inside this, and you have this inside your passenger compartment of your car. You'll hear it go off and alert you that something is wrong. Same thing if the temperature is too high, it'll set off the alarm, and that will alert you that something's wrong and you need to stop, pull over, get to a safe place and check your tires. So once you're at a safe location, you should walk around your camper and monitor the wheels. I like to put my hand down here and see if there's any heat radiating out of the center of the hub, but I also want to look all the way around each tire and make sure you go inside, outside, look at the sidewalls, and just to check for any nails, screws, wires, or anything that's caused a puncture. The other thing you can do is you're putting your hand around the tire, and I wouldn't put it on the tire. Your tire might be really hot, but around the tire, do you feel air coming out? Are you hearing a hissing sound like it's leaking air? Now these tires have stem-mounted pressure sensors. The sensors I showed you before were the internally mounted. I prefer the internally mounted sensors, but I'm using stem-mounted sensors on these tires until I have time to change the sensors over to the internal mounts. This is an air compressor, a portable air compressor. I got it off of Amazon. There are many options available. This one has a cigarette lighter type plug. You plug it into your 12-volt receptacle in your truck or your car or your trailer. And on the other end, it has a screw-on tip that will mount directly to the tire stem. It has a gauge on it, so you can see how much air you're putting in. And if I had just a slow leak, I could use this compressor to slowly reinflate my tire and bring it up to pressure. So I had enough pressure I could get it to a tire repair shop or to the end of my journey. So generally you don't want to drive on underinflated tires. So one time I had a slow leak. I was going west to Portland, Oregon. I was on driving along the Columbia River, and my tire pressure monitor went off. We were down to 50 psi. So I was able to stop, air up the tire, and continue on into Portland where we were going to camp. And then once we got to the camp spot, I was able to take my tire off, take it to the tire repair place, and get that fixed. All right, the tire pressure and temperature are two things you can monitor continuously. There's one more thing you can do, and let me tell you a little story before we get into that. One time I wore a tire out prematurely. I think it was this tire here. He wore out prematurely because when I was doing a brake job, I didn't get my wheel nut, or my hub nut, axle nut, torqued back correctly. So that wheel could then wobble back and forth, and it just completely wore out one of these tires in about 3,000 miles. A perfectly good tire when I started. It was perfectly bad when I ended. So at that point, I decided to get one of these. What this is a tire depth monitor. It has this little stylus that sticks down. You put that in your tire, then you push down the yellow part until it pops up, and then up here you can read your tread depth. So let me show you what I started doing. I started measuring my tread depth at 3 locations. The inner location, currently reading 7/30 seconds. The center, currently reading about 7/30 seconds. And the outer, also reading 7/30 seconds. So you can see the reading up here, and all you got to do is push that down, push this in until your yellow part is flat on the tread, and then you read whatever line that is lined up with. That's how much tread depth that you have. So I do that measurement on each tire, so it's 3 measurements times 4 tires. I have 12 measurements when I'm all done. I enter those measurements into this table. So across the top I have my right front, right rear, left front, and left rear tires labeled. And then I have the outside, center, and inside columns for tread depth. Going down the left-hand side, I have the number of miles that I've driven on that tire. So this is for a set of tires. It was on the trailer when it was brand new, when I purchased it in 2014. So after each trip when I get home, I record the mileage that I traveled, and I pick that up off of my trip planning software, and I use Microsoft Streets and Trips. It's old, but it still works for me. So looking down the columns, you can see that how the tread depth changes with the mileage that I put on. What happened on that first set of tires, and those were Goodyear Marathons that came on the trailer, is I destroyed one of the tires at around 38,500 miles. And so I bought 4 brand new Goodyear Endurance tires at that time and put them on all the way around the camper. Now I can take the table and create this graph. In this graph I'm showing right side and left side wear characteristics for the tires versus the mileage on the tires. As you can see, there's general slope downward. As you run the tires more, you're going to wear out the tread. You see some inflections there where it looks like, hey, the tread went down and then went back up. And that's just an artifact of the fact that I'm only measuring the tread depth at one location around the circumference of the tire. So sometimes you might be at a little higher tread depth and sometimes you might be at a little lower tread depth. Now what I do is I average the tread depth at all 3 locations on each tire, and then I average the 2 right side tires and the 2 left side tires the same way, so that I can get an average for my right side and my left side, and that way I can do the side-by-side comparison. I could do the same thing for front to rear if I wanted to, and I could plot all 4 tires on the same graph to see if one was wearing more than the other one was. So my tread depth table and my graph help me spot tire problems early. I can compare side-to-side tire wear, so right side against left side. I can compare front to back tire wear, so I've got a pair in the front and a pair in the back, and then I can compare individual tire wear, and also I can see across the tread depth of each individual tire if I'm getting even wear or it's tilted to the inside or to the outside. That helps me diagnose alignment problems I might have. Also, I can look at inflation issues, maybe trailer balance and attitude issues. If you think about it, if your tongue was up a little high, you'd be putting more weight on your rear wheels, perhaps wearing those out faster. So the graph and the table really help me discover early problems that I might be having with the tire, and if I discover them early, then I can avoid a catastrophe on the road, and I hope you can do the same thing. Well, a tire pressure monitoring system and a tread depth gauge are 2 things you can use to help you prevent catastrophes along the road and make every camping adventure a successful one. I hope I see you next time in a campground, not alongside the road looking at your tires. Thanks for watching.